I'm Danny Dyer, and this is the Real Football Factories International. I played Tommy Johnson in the film The Football Factory, which was all about football violence. Fucking nutters. Then I travelled the UK and met the real football firms. Now, I'm going international. 9 countries in 2 months. Around the hooligan world in 60 days. A whole new level of football violence. We'll be in riots. We'll get tear gas, chased, and even shot at. It's going to be quite a trip. Tonight I'm in Poland, home to some of the most feared football firms in the world.
U nas jak jest wojna, to jest wojna na całego. We wszystkich, na każdym froncie.
Już widzisz tego przeciwnika, to nagle klapki, wszystko jakby wiesz, wyłącza się wszystko.
Around 100 hooligan gangs and thousands of hooligans having tear-ups across the country. It's a crazy place, a cauldron of football violence.
In the Polish Premiership, the hooligans have a league of their own. The hardest, the most brutal, top the league.
Just imagine what it was like back in the 80s. Britain's hooligan heyday. Well, that's Poland today. And I'm going to take you right onto the front line. I'm going inside the Polish firms, right to the centre of this violent world. I'll be face to face with blokes in balaclavas, in shady places straight out of a snuff movie. And I'm going to experience the most intense derby in Polish football. Part inferno, part all-out riot. I've got to admit, I'm a bit worried about who I'm going to meet. I mean, are they going to let me into their world, or are they going to tell me in no uncertain terms where to go? And will somebody please tell me why I agreed to come here? Because it's puzzling me. No, I need a little bar, I need a little cheeky vodka. What's Polish for Dutch courage? No. Poland is in the grip of football violence. To find out why, I went to 3 cities. Gdansk, Krakow and Warsaw. My journey started in Gdansk, which has a special place in the hearts of the Polish people. In the 80s, violence exploded on the streets of this city, with football fans from Lechia Gdansk on the front line. But this wasn't hooliganism, they had a political goal. Now, there isn't many countries where you can say the fighting spirit of football fans helped change the course of a country's history, but that's exactly what happened here in Poland. Lechia Gdansk fans became the foot soldiers for Solidarity, the political group behind Polish independence, and they helped overthrow a communist government. Poland was a communist country until the late 80s. Here in Gdansk, fans of Lechia Football Club were active in Solidarity, the underground protest movement which brought down the regime. The fans fought for the Polish people when they squared up to their enemy, the communist militia.
Wytworzył się ten dystans. My oni, prawda? Coś, co później zróżnicowało bardzo to społeczeństwo, a już w tej mikrostrukturze społeczność kibicowską z przedstawicielami władzy ludowej, no bo to było to tak zwane zbrojne ramię.
Mecz Lechii się kończył i każdy wracał na dzielnicę, a tych bandytów z ZOMO było pełno.
Tak,
bo zachodzenie w szaliku, sklepu się nie wracało.
Ty miałeś szalik.
These fans were banged up and beaten up, but they wouldn't let up. Lechia's ground was one of the few places where the people of the city could protest without being battered by the militia. After matches, thousands would march through the streets, chanting anti-communist slogans. They had a strength in numbers the militia feared. These fans became local legends as Solidarity swept to power in the late 80s. But in the 90s, Polish firms didn't fight for the people anymore. They fought between themselves. Hooliganism exploded across the country. Today, Polish firms are feared across Europe. I've been told that Krakow has got the naughtiest of the lot. So guess where Muggins is off to after the break? Join me as I head to Krakow to meet the firms of today.
Cracovia. That sounds naughty, doesn't it? It's a naughty sounding sort of team. Come from West Ham, it sounds naughty anyway. Welcome back to the International Football Factories. For this episode, I'm in Poland. Since the collapse of communism, hooliganism's been an issue here. And by all accounts, the Krakow derby is as hard as it gets. Wisła Krakow versus Cracovia, otherwise known in these parts as the Holy War.
Krakow used to be the capital of Poland, and no doubt helped by the number of British stag doos that were coming here. Tourism was booming.
Not a bad gaff, this Krakow, I must say. It's quite smart.
But there was another darker side to the city, not always obvious at first glance. Krakow has two football teams, Wisła and Cracovia. Their firms are two of the most notorious hooligan gangs in the country, living out a 24/7 war in Krakow. They were Wisła Sharks and Cracovia's firm, called Anti-Wisła. Their hatred was so intense that Cracovia even named their firm against their enemy. It could kick off between these two anywhere, and while firms in other parts of the country disapproved of weapons, in the hooligan world, Krakow was known as the City of Knives.
Back on tour, 1, 2, 3, we all back on 4, you better wake up.
The main battleground was in and around the housing estates across the city. For people living here, the collapse of communism had brought a failing economy and high unemployment. Especially among young people, it was a breeding ground for hooligan gangs. These estates were known locally as blocks. The tougher estates, in a similar way to the projects of New York, inspired a Polish hip-hop movement that aimed to reflect their world. These estates supported one club or the other. You could find one supporting Cracovia, next door to an estate dominated by Wisła, which meant violence could happen anywhere, anytime. Przemek took me on a walk around one of these blocks.
Okay, so this will be the Azory estate.
Yeah.
Could you just explain to me a little bit about which club would own this estate?
Well, it's a typical Wisła football club area.
Wisła, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, because well, the whole town, the whole city is divided into territories.
So, if anybody supported Cracovia, they wouldn't come to this estate, no?
Well,
Or if they did, they'd be stupid, would they?
yeah, it would be
Stupid move,
risky
yeah?
and stupid, yeah.
So, just looking around, would would the hooligans live here, yeah?
Yeah.
Most of them, yeah? So
Well,
there could be eyes watching us now, yeah?
Graffiti was all over the gaff, and a fair bit was aimed at Cracovia, of course.
Let's start with this here. What does this mean? Something about Cracovia,
it can
obviously.
be translated like Cracovia is like a whore who receives everybody.
Okay, quite a bad diss. The Krakow derby's 100 years old, making it the oldest derby in Polish football. Now, the teams are just 500 metres apart, separated by this piece of park. Wisła, Cracovia.